Here's a method you can use to join your wool yarn that creates no ends to weave in and no knots. You can use this join throughout your project, whether you are joining a yarn of the same color or a yarn of a new color. And this is your choice, but I say that you can use this method to join a yarn of a new color because usually in felting, even if you're changing colors and creating stripes, it's okay if those stripes aren't sharp and perfect. They don't have to be sharply defined and perfect because they're going to be felted. So it's okay if you join another color in this way. So I'm just going to break this yarn and then show you how to join it. And I do recommend breaking rather than cutting your yarn that you're going to join. So if you have an end that you're going to join and it's been cut off with the scissors, break off a piece and create a more frayed end. So I'm going to break off a length of yarn for myself to rejoin. And see, that doesn't create a very tidy end. And then I'm just going to open these plies and maybe remove one of the plies. Just easy to do. And the same thing on the other yarn that I am joining. Open those plies and get rid of one or two of them. I usually just do one. Now, some people recommend that you very carefully intertwine these pieces of yarn and join them perfectly as though they were woven together. I don't find that's necessary, especially if you're felting. So what you need to do, see, there's our two pieces of yarn, and I'm just going to lay them together. And because they're wool, they really do want to stick together. They would like to stick together. So I'm going to wet those pieces of yarn. This is no special water. It doesn't have to be warm or hot. It just has to be wet. Make sure they're good and wet. And then we're actually going to felt this together by hand. And to do that, just lay it in your palm with those ends and rub it back and forth all along that spot where you've joined. Look, we're felting all along the spot where you've joined those two bits of yarn. And it will felt together and become a solid join in just a few minutes. If you need to, add a little bit more water, but usually a good soaking like that is enough. And you see, you can still kind of see where they join, but it's going to join, and it's going to be a solid join that holds when you knit or crochet, and then it won't show at all when you felted the whole finished product. Even while it's still wet, it's not going to separate. And there's no ends to weave in and no knots. It's a great join for wool yarns. Now, this is called a wet splice. I should have said that at the beginning. This is called a wet splice. It actually works best with spit. It's called a spit splice. I'm not going to do that on camera. It works just fine with water, but you can do it with spit if you choose to. And if you're having a little bit of trouble getting those fibers to join, a little bit of spit will get them to stick. So there's how you join your wool yarns.